All right, what better guest than the Riz, the man, the myth, the mystery, the brains behind the Lions Wire, the brawn behind the Browns Wire, the meat behind Real GM. The Riz, how you doing, Risdon? Good to talk to you, brother.
The meat. That's the best introduction I've ever had. You are the meat.
You saw
Cincinnati
right?
style chili. That's awesome.
I'd rather be sausage. You remember Porky's, right? That was one of your youth movies, right?
Oh, yes.
That was the best. He was so hilarious.
Oh, man. My grandpa took me to see Porky's in the theater when I was like 11.
I love
my grandpa was awesome. He was awesome. He took me to see Rambo. Because my grandma wouldn't go with him, so he wouldn't go to movies alone. So I got to see all these R-rated movies when I was a kid. That's awesome.
Sweet.
Grandpa was great.
It's kind of the foundation that made us who we are, right?
It really is. Yes.
All right, let's talk about it. There's a lot of stuff going on. The draft, of course, is a hot topic right now. We're not going to be here next week. We got a week off. We've got other things going on. I'm traveling around. I'm going down to Rat Town in Orlando. But the big question right now is about Bob Quinn. Okay, is he going to trade up? Is he going to trade down? I think more people are talking about trading down. Everybody wants to trade down. Like it's like oh, that's all. That's all I had to do is trade down. Oh, I should have done that so long. That's easy stuff. Let's talk about that. First off, let's just start with trading up because I feel like it's like the least likely possibility of what we're going to do.
Trading up would be tough.
Who are you going for? You going for Kyler Murray?
You got to get up to 1 for that. As freaky as that might be, I do think he's going number 1.
Yeah, I do too.
You could go up for Josh Allen if he doesn't go 2 or 3 or even 4, because I think you can get up to 5. And keep in mind the Raiders are picking. They have 3 first-round picks, so they're probably not all that interested in getting extra stuff. So
right.
But if you can move up to, let's say Josh Allen's there at 6, which could happen, and you want to vault and make sure that nobody trades with the Jaguars or the Jaguars don't take him. I don't think they would, but they have myriad other needs. You can package, remember the Lions have 2 6, 2 7s. You can package 8 and those 2 extra picks and maybe a 3rd or a 4th next year and move up. That's very realistic. That could happen. I don't know what the trade chart values is. By the way, and we're gonna run this on tomorrow on Lions Wire, the official draft chart.
Right.
It's crap. Nobody follows the draft chart values. They are antiquated.
They're from Jimmy Johnson, right?
Yes, that's exactly right. They're from Jimmy Johnson from about 11 CBAs ago, and the dynamics of things have changed quite a bit, and so teams don't necessarily value the top picks as high as they used to, and they do value the lower picks more in general, to a point.
Right.
But that would probably get it done if you want to move up. They could move up, and if they are really hell-bent on getting Montez Sweat and make sure that Tampa Bay doesn't take him at 5, and I don't think they will. I think the Bucs are taking Devin White, and everybody in Tampa seems to think that too. And
sure.
In that area,
that's what I'm hearing.
Yeah. The other name I have heard them after is Montez Sweat, and if Bob Quinn has his heart set on Montez Sweat, and he very well might, he would probably have to move up to 5 or 4, and that could involve moving your first this year, and you send the 3rd, which you've already acquired from New England, because we don't have our original 3rd. So it's wonky, but that would probably get it done.
Do you think Sweat fits the character profile for Quinn? I feel like it's a keep away from him. I just don't. Great player, right? Great player, but I just don't see him biting on it.
The thing that I heard from people who know the Mississippi State program well was that he was an entitled knucklehead in high school. That's the exact words that were used.
Right.
And it carried over into his first year and a half of college. But since then, he's sort of gotten that knocked out of him and grown out of him.
Yeah, sure. Okay, that's good to hear. Now, were you an entitled knucklehead in high school?
I was not. I was a knucklehead. I was certainly not entitled.
Yeah, okay. Same.
Dude, I was a new kid twice in high school. That sucked. I was not entitled whatsoever.
Oof. Yeah. No, I was the old kid forever, but I was definitely a knucklehead. It was great to be a knucklehead. So, all right. So no, you can grow out of that.
Sometimes.
I didn't.
Yes, you can. A lot of people have. You know, there are a couple of entitled knuckleheads that are on the Lions now who are no longer that way. Thankfully.
Yeah, that's good to see. So, all right. So the moving up is it's of limited.
It could happen. It could happen. I wouldn't say that it won't, but I wouldn't bet on it.
Yeah, okay. We'll say it's limited. Now, trading down. Everybody, this is the best.
Oh my God.
Everybody's like, oh yeah, just trade down, right? Right, Riz? Let's just do it. So why is it that everyone like in the league seems to think it's so hard to trade down? Just trade down. Just say, I don't know, Washington. You're taking
Washington.
8.
So Washington's at 15. Right. They want to move up to 8.
Yeah.
Let's say you're Washington.
You don't need to want to. You're getting it all wrong. Yeah. I'm just going to trade down. Don't you understand? I'm trading down.
Somebody's got to go off, Chris.
What? Wait. Now it's just crazy talk. Right?
Somebody has to want to rise up. In this draft, that's a tough sell. Okay, let's use Washington as an example because they're picking 15.
Sure.
They are a team that is mentioned as moving up because if they want the second quarterback, they want to ensure that they get the second quarterback. Mm-hmm. They probably need to move up. They probably need to get ahead of Jacksonville, but probably not too. But if they really wanted to guarantee it, they'd have to move up above the Lions. Let's say they don't. Let's say they want to get in front of Denver, who's at 10. Denver going to take Drew Lock for better or worse. Right. I don't know why, but that seems to be what they're going to do. If you want Drew Lock and you're Washington, and I don't know why you would, but let's say they would, Detroit is a trading partner. What's Washington going to give you? They have
4 firsts.
They will give you
down. Didn't you hear it? That's how you get
they
value.
They will give you a first and third this year, and probably a third next year to move up for that. Or you can take one of their crappy, oft-injured players that they are trying to dump, like Josh Doxson, as an example.
Right.
And I would actually be very interested in that because I think Doxson can still play, assuming that he has legs still attached to his body, which may or may not be true.
Right.
He's hurt a lot.
We need recent video. Hold up today's paper so we know.
Yes, exactly.
Those hostage deals.
Yeah, although Bob Quinn does show a propensity for liking guys with injuries.
He seems to like bad cornerbacks.
Oh my God,
what's going on with that, man?
We'll do the tangent. I'll put a tangent in here. They had Jamel Dean in today. As we're recording this,
sure.
He'll be in tomorrow. He wasn't there today. He will be there tomorrow on Wednesday. Most of you will watch this and see this and hear this. Jamel Dean is a cornerback from Auburn who did not play football from 2013 through 2016 because he tore his meniscus not once but twice. Also tore his ACL. He played 2 seasons at Auburn. He is a physical freak when his physicality works. He's 6 feet tall, 206 pounds. He runs a flat 4.3 40. He doesn't have very good technique, as you would expect for a guy who missed 4 years of football. He can turn and run with anybody, but the fact that he has to turn and run with people is a bit of a problem.
He is definitely ready to be coached up. That's what I'm hearing.
Yes, he has very intriguing physical potential, and he played very well against Alabama to his credit. Mm-hmm. Go back and watch him play against Mississippi State. Watch him play against Ole Miss, where DK Metcalf made him his bitch. There's problems there.
Yeah.
And AJ Brown too, for that matter. A lot of good receivers at Ole Miss. So I'm not. The guy's had 2 meniscus surgeries. I can't do that. I just can't. It's like Marquise Brown, Hollywood Brown. Yeah. He's off my draft board. We saw what a Lisfranc injury did to Amir Abdullah. When you are that heavily dependent on explosiveness and lateral agility and things like that, you get that Lisfranc, you're done. Look at Amir's done. I mean, he's going to make the team, and he won't play much for Minnesota. They're actually trying to get rid of him, from what I understand. Right. I don't understand the infatuation with people doing that, Bob Quinn included. I just stay away, stay away.
So you're saying trade up to number 3 so we ensure we get Dean? Is that what I heard?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Do it.
So what's the viability of trading down? We'd say everybody wants to. Is there any chance of my silliness
you can trade back realistically 2 or 3 spots and it will happen. And that is getting an extra 3rd or 4th, probably a 4th and maybe a 7th.
We could certainly use a 3rd though, right? I mean, especially
that would probably be what Quinn would ask for. Let's say who's at 11? Crap. I'm blanking on that.
Sorry, I don't have it even in front of me. Let me
reference here. All right. I just did a mock draft. Let me find that.
Yeah,
I did the What Jeff Risdon Will Do mock draft, which was always fun.
Doing one too. 11 is Cincinnati, of course.
Cincinnati. Now, Cincinnati will deal, and they could be very well be in the market for a quarterback as well. So let's say they really want to ensure that they get Dwayne Haskins or Daniel. I can't say Daniel Jones is the first with a straight face. He's not as good as Matt Castle. People are going to take him in the top 20. Oh my God.
It's something, isn't it? I mean, really?
It really is. It really is. He's not good, people. He's really not good.
And even, I mean, I've seen some, what was it? God, I forget his name. P-A-H, Parnell Parump. Parump, I'm thinking of California. I got to look him up here for my Senior Bowl list. This is the tight end. Donald
Parham from Stetson.
Yeah.
The big 6'8" guy.
Yeah.
238.
Yeah. Top 40% as far as body type. Kent Platt had tweeted his RAS score, right? And showed it.
Yeah.
Looked at it and said he looked really, really good. But man, when I was watching him there at Senior Bowl, there was just nothing. And I'm starting to wonder, I'm not starting to wonder, but I've been continuously wondering if I've undervalued so many pass catchers because of how absolutely ass the quarterback class was. They just could not put a ball anywhere. These guys are these giant wingspans. They couldn't put a ball, within that range. And I'm wondering, am I wrong here? Or is he better than what people think?
He might be a little bit better than what people think. The guy who really gets impacted by that, if you want to go to wide receivers who got short sold by having terrible quarterback play, N'Keal Harry.
Oh yeah.
Arizona State did not have good quarterback play, so he's one of them.
And that's how we picked up Galladay, right? He was a guy who had a whole string of crappy quarterbacks.
Northern Illinois, they had a middle linebacker playing quarterback for 2 games his junior year. Right. They went through 4. He caught passes from 6 different quarterbacks.
Right. And not one of them anybody could remember their name, even
Let's go back.
Coached them, right?
Stephon Diggs was that way. That's how Minnesota got him so late, because remember, Maryland played 5. They started 5 quarterbacks his junior year.
Yeah.
It happened. That does matter.
Yeah. Yep. So we'll take a look. We'll see what happens going on. Okay. So we've talked about the viability going up now. Where do you think we're going to do? What do you think the reality is for the Lions? What should we expect? Are we sitting at 8 and drafting at number 8?
I am. So, insider tip here. We pre-write things, especially for the draft. I have already pre-written who the Lions are picking at number 8. And Eric Schlitt will verify this because he has access to the same backstory thing. And I wrote it today. So if it comes true, then I will be super prescient and I'll be happy. And I won't necessarily be all that happy with the player. Right. I would be happier if it were other players, but and I have them with the number 8 pick, the Detroit Lions take.
Yeah. Is it at Oliver?
It is not Ed Oliver.
Okay.
I don't think he's going to be there.
Okay.
And that is part of the reason why I chose the player that I did.
Okay. I'm not really excited with that myself. I'm starting to see some chinks in that armor that I don't like, and it's making
with Ed Oliver.
Yeah.
He's
really raw, is what I'm getting, and I've seen him blast back by tackles and miss a lot of tackles that he shouldn't, and it's got me a little worried.
Yeah, the thing that you remember is that the Lions were one of the teams that wanted to work him out at linebacker, and having him be essentially Trey Flowers, who can play that linebacker role, who can play either end.
Sure.
I think that is incredibly appealing. Okay.
He's a precious but no sack guy. That's the fear.
Well, he is. Some of that is playing nose tackle too, but he is also and I really don't want this to be interpreted in a negative way. He is not going to appeal personally on like a relatable level to everyone, and that includes coaches. Mm-hmm. He is his own individual, and for the right coach, it will be brilliant. For the wrong coach, probably not. And the guy that he often gets compared to as in NFL comparisons is John Randall, who's in the Hall of Fame. John Randall was not an easy guy to coach either. He was a very peculiar person. And I think that's probably the best way to say it about Ed Oliver. It's not a negative.
Sure.
He's not going to be for everybody. And will that be Patricia? I don't know on that.
And I've got to take a digression. I'm sorry. How would you describe Cushing from the Texans and his outside of the juicing thing? Would he be a difficult guy to coach as well?
Yes. But for the right guy, like Pete Carroll, who had him in college,
right.
Pete loved him.
Missile,
absolutely loved him.
Right? I mean,
yeah. Here, go take this play off and eat your almonds. I'll never forget that in Texans training camp. He sat out a rep so he could eat 3 almonds.
Yeah.
He had him in the pocket of his pants. So he sat because he had an exact time for the exact amount of calories and nutrients that he needed in his body.
3 sweaty almonds, just so you know.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's talk about
fucking nuts, man.
After all the juicing he did, that's probably all the nuts that were left in his pants. Let's talk about. Sorry, I couldn't. I don't know where that stuff comes from, man. It just pops out. It's a little bit of Tourette's, I guess. I don't know. All right, let's talk about the message that Bob Quinn's sending, because he's been talking up really hard about trading down.
He has.
And of course, we're starting to get to smokescreen season and all that. But Bob Quinn is always surprised. But in the end, I feel like he hasn't bullshit. Right? He hasn't been smoke screening his way through it. It's been like, wow.
He hasn't.
He kind of did what he said, though, didn't he? Right? I mean, that's kind of the sense I get out of him. So is this?
I think he would like to trade down. I don't think he wants to trade down too far. And this is a conversation that I've had with Kyle Krabs from the Draft Network. We have a very lengthy DM on this about the value of earning a top 10 pick and then giving away the shot at the premium talent versus getting more picks.
Right.
Are the Lions, and we actually talked about the Lions in this context. He's a Dolphins guy. So he talked about it in the Dolphins context too.
They need more
the Dolphins need more bodies. Yeah. The Lions don't necessarily need more bodies. They need impact bodies.
The right bodies.
Right. So if you stay at 8, you have a better chance of getting that impact guy, and you won't necessarily need those extra guys down the line. And that's the gist of the conversation that Kyle and I have had.
Sure.
He's different with that on the Dolphins. The Dolphins need a lot of bodies because their roster's bad.
Sure.
So if you're the Dolphins, you would probably be more inclined to trade down because you don't necessarily have the need for one specific impact player.
Right.
Where I think the Lions, we might not think that, but I think the Lions think that is like they can get that one guy and it will make them. It's the difference between them finishing 7-9 and the difference between them finishing 11-5 because it just does so many different things for them.
So let me put on my Riz translator, right?
Yeah.
So the more bodies you need, the more likely you're looking for BPA and more picks, right?
Right.
The more impact specific players you're looking for, you want a higher draft pick, really, because you want to pick the guy at the position you need.
Exactly.
Yep. Okay.
Yes.
That makes sense. That makes good sense for the team.
Now, if you're a proponent of the Lions trading down, you need to find a team that is picking 11 to 17 is probably about as far. You can probably go to 18, maybe 20. Pittsburgh's at 20. They're not going to move up. That's not what they do. But you need a team that sees it the same way. That we need one impact player, and that guy's going to be there at 8, and the guys that we would get at 20 just aren't going to be there, and it's worth us giving up whatever we need to move up there. Right. Those are the teams you need to look at for moving up.
Sure.
Is Washington one of those teams? Probably not. Miami? No. But who's picking in that range that could go up? That's the hard part. That's where you have to find. Who thinks that they're one impact player away from moving up? That's the team that you will target to trade back with.
Right.
But then you're also acknowledging that you're not one of the teams that thinks that one player is going to do it for them.
You're diametrically opposed because the teams that are drafting later typically want to pick that one body.
Right.
Right. And the teams that are drafting earlier want to pick, more bodies. So you need to move a relatively decent distance in order to find the right kind of thing. We're looking for that body, though. We're at that position where we want that specific choice of a player.
Look at the couple of big trades that moved up. Remember when the Falcons moved up for Julio Jones?
Right.
They gave up 2 firsts and a second and a player.
Mm-hmm.
And the Browns botched every single one of the picks, which is fun. But then the Browns also got a plethora of resources from the Houston Texans when they went up to get Deshaun Watson.
Yep.
That was very worthwhile for Houston. It was very worthwhile for Atlanta. I think the Chiefs fans are pretty darn happy that they moved up considerably to get Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, it seems like they'd be happy now, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
He seemed to be having fun at the Final Four, didn't he? Did you see that?
Oh, man, yeah. The guy's got it, man.
Yeah,
I love that guy. I love that guy.
Yeah, he looks like he's living his best life. Another team that did the move, the Bears for Mitchell Trubisky. Sorry, I had to put it in there.
I'll drink to that.
That's my second favorite to the Laramie Tunsil gas mask moment.
My God.
I love draft day. Can't wait to see what happens.
You played yourself, meme. Insert.
All right. So we got a lot of draft people coming up. You got to keep your eyes open for those new jerseys. Or if you want to kind of keep in with the old star, that you don't want to be an OG, a Lions supporter, you know what you do. Head on over to DetroitLionsPodcast.com, click on the Fanatics link, and go get yourself a sweet-ass jersey of the player of your choice. You can hold out till after the draft, or why not get one now and after the draft, so you have the new and the old. You can say, oh, whoa. I'm not a bandwagon guy. I've been here, right? You can do both at the same time. Have a good time. DetroitLionsPodcast.com. Head over to Fanatics from there. Click on the link from our site, and they'll give us a kickback, and we'll thank you for that. So thank you, everyone who's done it now already, and all you people who are doing it now, thank you too. Great way to support the show by doing something you were going to do anyway, right, Riz?
Absolutely.
All right, let's talk a little bit about the CBA. There was a huge breaking news from the NFL today. Briefly talked about it with Case earlier. They announced that the Players Association, the NFL executives, and a whole number of other folks are met today, and they talked, and they have committed to meeting again. Is this really just a, hey, let's get a reason to order the beef tenderloin so we can write them off and we'll talk more later? I mean, it seems
somewhere Troy Vincent is cursing at you.
Yeah. What's going on here, man? Look, I know it's a lot to talk about, but it's early, it seems, on what is a big deal that maybe takes that long.
My very rough take on it is that they are trying to give the illusion that they're trying.
Yeah. And they know nothing's going to happen till late, right? That's
God, no, nothing is going to happen. So the CBA is up after the 2020 season.
Yes.
That is almost exactly 2 years from now, because the league year ends in mid-March.
Yep.
So they will play that Super Bowl in 2021. And hopefully the Lions will be in it. That'd be nice.
We'll have one.
That'd be very nice,
Yeah.
because it might be the last one we see for a while, because that's when the negotiations will really start, is after that Super Bowl. There's about a 6-week period between the Super Bowl, which is less than that. It's like a month between then and the end of the league year. And that's when the contract expires. That's when the negotiations, that's when you can start paying attention to them, because before then you're going to hear a lot of things. It's the same thing as the Iowa primary that's coming up for the election. There's going to be like 20 different candidates there. And you know that like I live in Michigan. By the time Michigan votes, 9 months later for the candidates, there's going to be 4 of them.
It'll be a whole different field.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, sure.
So many different things will happen to it that it'll get bastardized and changed. And here's what you need to know. The owners want to keep as much money as they can, and the players want to get as much cash as they can.
I think player safety probably plays in there a little bit, right?
They did show some inkling towards being more cognizant of that in the last one.
Mm-hmm.
And so hopefully that will come about. But one of the other things that they did, one of the things that they did in the name of player safety was they cut back on hitting in practice. They cut back on contact in practice, things like that. And they realize now, at least from what I gather, that that's probably not good for the product. And the product is suffering because of that. So where are they going to find a meet in the middle there? Where are they going to find a compromise point on that?
Yeah.
Because the player safety does matter. And I love that the players are more cognizant now of what's going to happen with their post-football life. You hear that a lot more with the players now. Glover Quinn talked about it quite a bit. TJ Lang retired because of that. And it's awesome. We're glad TJ Lang retired.
Yeah.
Rather than trying to get more.
We love TJ Lang. We love watching him play football.
Yes.
But we also we also love TJ Lang.
Right. Exactly. So I think that will play into it. But is it worth giving away 0.5% of total revenue? Maybe.
Can I put another spin on it of what I think is going to be what's going to be a topic? I think streaming rights and the money from the streaming rights is going to be a big thing because they haven't done it. They haven't done it well. That's for sure. The Sunday Ticket thing has owned it. And I made a plea for friends with a VPN to help me out this year, earlier in the show. But the Sunday Ticket is, I mean, you have to sign on with Satan in order to be able to get that, and it's killing me. I want to ban Satan from my life, and get my Lions a different way because it's a mess. NHL is great.
Center ice package is awesome.
Yeah, MLB is great. NBA is great. Why does the NFL do this? Why do they continuously hurt themselves? I think that licensing and who gets how much out of that is probably going to be a big piece of this, because I think the way the licensing works is the owners will see it as a way to offset some of the extra costs that the players are going to want to extract from them. And it's a new revenue stream to help do that. And the Players Association is going to say, you know what? Yeah, that is, but we want a chunk of that stream too. So you're not going to get that whole ball of wax. So we'll see.
Yeah, that's definitely coming. I think there is a lot of push from some owners who have more popular national profile teams.
Like the Lions.
Probably not the Lions.
Oh.
Sorry. We are the Lions fans. That's one of the reasons why we love each other, because we know that we're punching uphill all the time.
That's right.
I think some of the national owners would like to do away with having all 32 teams divide everything equally. Mm-hmm. I think Jerry Jones would love to know the fact that the Cowboys bring in roughly 9% of all league revenue. But they have to share it, and they get less than 3% of it.
Let me bring out an idea that isn't an absolutely new idea, but that you bring a great point, right? Okay, so the bigger teams want a bigger chunk of the revenue, right? Okay, so what are you going to do? You got to be a better team. Well, you're fighting the salary cap. You got some other things. At the same time, you got the Alliance of American Football, who's ready to close doors. And you kind of need a spring league, right? What about the concept of relegation?
Oh, that would be fun.
Right?
I'm all for it.
Suddenly.
And the problem is that the Lions would be in danger in specific times.
Yeah.
The Browns, the other team I cover, would be relegated because they picked number 1 2 years in a row.
Right.
I think the way that you would do it was if you pick in the top 5, if you have one of the 5 worst records 3 years in a row, you go down.
Right. And then the best for 5 would come up, right?
Yeah.
That interesting concept. I'm not saying it's good or bad.
Fun.
It just kind of occurred, awesome. But that makes for some really, really interesting kind of stuff, and it makes for one hell of a kind of minor league.
And that is another thing that will be definitely discussed in the CBA, especially if the XFL really forces the issue. And I don't think that the XFL is going to be any more viable than the AAF myself. That's just my opinion.
You're right, but they're happening at the right time. They have the right time where the CBA is on their side.
Exactly. Vince McMahon, as stupid as he is not stupid.
No, I agree. And I'm confused with what I'm agreeing with, but I agree. But you're right. No, absolutely. And it may be that the XFL isn't as good of a product. It may be better. Who knows, right? I mean, it has a history, so you can easily paint it with something, right? But it's coming at the right time to be the one that just happens to dumb luck itself into that kind of secondary league and that support league. So very, very interesting. Okay, good. I appreciate that, Riz. I know it's breaking news and there's not a lot going on, but we were able to have, I think, a pretty relevant discussion around it. I mean, you're
there you go.
You're one of those smart guys.
I actually wind up talking about the CBA a lot, like behind the scenes with people.
Sure.
That's one of the things when you talk to agents right now and they're talking about contracts. That's one of the reasons why you're seeing a lot of guys who are signing 2 or 3 year deals with all the money in year 2.
Yeah. That's really important, and that's going to change, right? I mean,
yes. Next year's free agency will be very different. You'll see a ton of guys and teams looking for 1 year deals.
Wouldn't it be
because they don't want to be committed beyond that? Because what happens if the revenue percentages change? What happens if there's a holdout and I'm still have to pay this guy guaranteed money because that they do have to pay guaranteed money? That's guaranteed.
Yeah. What happens? What happens if a team was on its way to really be competitive, and the teams around them were they were where they were and had to maintain competitiveness, but they didn't have cap, and you were able to carry cap over from one season to the next? What kind of advantage would that give you maybe in a year like that? How much cap do we have left over?
We're at what, 20? I don't know what we signed somebody today. We're going to talk about that in a second. I don't know what he signed for, but I'm guessing we still have probably north of 22 million at least.
Yeah. Carryover cap I think means a lot more this year going into next year, especially with free agency and the smart team may be in a position to use that. So, all right, let's move on really quick. Riz, I want to talk and thank you for all your support on the St. Jude piece. I saw you bounce around in your shirt. You looked.
I did, sexy. Man.
You got that look, man. You carry it well. You carry the brand well.
And as somebody nicely said, and it was a dude, so I'm a little scared about that, but it really brought out the color in my eyes nicely.
I noticed that myself.
Yeah, so thanks.
No, that's great. So thanks for buying it. $1 the shirt went to St. Jude.
That's right, man.
Goes to St. Jude and all these things. We have Patreon for the month of April. Everything that we would normally taken home to help support the cast, that's going. My $500 donation went in just this last month. We just put that in our transparency report that's on DetroitLionsPodcast.com. You can see everyone who donated, every penny, how it came in, where it came from, how it's distributed. Same thing from the PayPal. Everything goes in throughout the month of April. We have a great auction going on. Did you see that I Prevail has a signed guitar?
Love that the signed guitar is up. That's gonna get a couple of bids from me.
Yeah.
I am. Their new album just smokes. I love it.
They've got a merch pack that includes the album and vinyl, hoodies, sweatshirts, tickets. It's a sweet deal. So that's out there.
It's awesome. And they're gonna be in Grand Rapids in August.
Yeah.
Just saying. Come on out and enjoy the show.
So I can join you. I hope I don't bother you. The old man holding the glass, cheering on, screaming bow down. No. So good stuff. And so there's the direct donation. There's the shirts, like we were talking about, $1 from
shirts are great.
Sold. Good stuff. We got some other items in this merch store as well. But it's the shirts that $1 from each one of those goes to the St. Jude fundraiser under the Run Rich Run banner. We're trying to get fans to help those sick kids. So get involved, do your part, help us out, help us to help those kids and those families of those kids get better. And the little one incentive we talked about, we've got the Zach Zenner shirt. It's a big winner.
I love Zach Zenner.
It's available in female form. It's available in the male form as well. You can get either style, whichever you like, whatever fits you the best. And we're having Zach Zenner Day, the day of the party at training camp. We're trying to get as many people as we can in those I Love Zach Zenner shirts there. We're going to flip some players out. You know, they're used to seeing the Stafford jerseys or maybe some Diggs jerseys, right? And a bunch of people with these I Heart ZZ, they're going to be like,
if we could get like 50 of us, and for those of you who have been to camp with us before, you know, I hide in the media tower, but Chris is over there, a man of the people, with all kinds of people around him, and it's a good time.
Yeah, it's a riot, and it's gonna be Zach Zenner Day, and then that night will be the party, and we have at least one big guest coming to that party. We'll talk about that a little bit later as we get closer. Yes. But that party's going to be a big deal, and it'll be great. It's
going to be a lot of fun.
Yep.
It'll be worth your time coming to it.
Yep.
For sure.
Zach Zenner Day. It's a big deal. Get your I Love Zach Zenner shirts. Get them now. $1 to St. Jude for every one of them sold. You're going to want it later for the party. You're going to want it for the training camp day. Just get it now so you can help the kids and help the families. All right.
Dude, cancer kids, man. I can't imagine that. I can't fathom that.
No, as a parent, that's what killed me with this whole thing. I had a week off. I was traveling, right? I'm sitting in the hotel room by myself, and you get a little homesick, but you get used to it a little bit, you know, traveling or whatever. And I'm sitting there, and Eisen's doing his thing and talking about the families and the kids and the worst news you ever get. And it was like I got a gut punched. I'm like, I got to do something, man. I got to do something here.
Yeah. So, we're both blessed with healthy kids, thank God.
Yep.
But for those who aren't, man, you got to help out those people.
Far more normal than I ever was. Thank goodness.
Yeah.
All right. Last piece, Riz, we'll talk about. This is a segment I love to bring up every now and then because I love poking you like this, and you're a fun guy, so you can handle it. Was Riz right or was Riz wrong?
Yeah.
And you're kind of both here, so I'm going to let you kind of be the arbiter of your own right or wrong here. The Lions signed Tom Savage, and
I called it.
You called it last year.
Yeah.
You called it last year.
I did.
I don't know if you were in a time machine. That's what my rum runners happen to be, is a time machine, because like I'll be drinking them, and the next thing you know, it's the next morning. But it's
yes, it was.
Were you right or wrong, or how do you call this? You'll be our local referee to call it on yourself. What do you think?
So I had a very good idea last year, and I know that the Lions looked at him last year. So we'll rewind a bit. He was the Houston Texans starting quarterback at the beginning of the 2017 season. Yep. I covered the Texans that year. I covered them the year before that as well. So I knew that George Godsey was a huge Tom Savage fan. So we will rewind to the summer of 2017 when they had Deshaun Watson. They had made a big move up to get him. George Godsey, who became the Lions guy, loved Tom Savage so much that he convinced Bill O'Brien that Tom Savage needed to be the starting quarterback for that year. So I thought, and I put these pieces together myself, but I had backing from people in Houston who said this too, was that the Lions were going to sign Tom Savage and he's going to be your backup quarterback because there was an opening there.
Right.
For 2018. He signed with the Saints instead because they offered a lot more money than what the Lions were offering him. Sure. Have that on very good authority. So they signed him today. I don't know what he signed for, but let's just say the market wasn't as strong this year for Tom. So Sean Ryan, who took over for George Godsey, is now in Detroit. He was not a huge Savage guy, but he also wasn't opposed to him.
Right.
So I will say that I was right. I was just a year off.
Okay.
And I will say this, so the person who referenced this to me yesterday, when he told me that there was a fair chance that Tom Savage was going to be in Detroit and looking to sign, it's not surprising that he's here. Let's put it that way. I was not at all surprised. I was actually at my son's basketball practice when the news dropped, but I wasn't at all surprised that it happened.
Yeah.
And it's so I'll give you my brief take on Tom Savage, and I'm writing this up later. And I might actually record a video with it too. So everybody knows Tom Savage from the Week 1, 2017, where he got sacked. What was it? 5 times in the first 3 drives, and that ushered in the Deshaun Watson era. Okay, that he was awful. There is no question. That was one of the worst. He left at halftime. That was one of the worst quarterback halves I've ever seen from anybody not named Nate Peterman. And ironically enough, Nate Peterman took over for Tom Savage at Pittsburgh. Something in the water there.
Yeah.
The rest of his Texans time, and I'll go specifically to that preseason, he was better than Deshaun Watson in that preseason.
I remember that. That was a season we were doing the NFL podcast together. I remember talking about that.
Yep, that's right. He had a string where he completed 27 out of 28 passes and was sharp and crisp. He has a good arm. He cannot move at all. That's the biggest problem. And if you get pressure in his face, which happened, and by the way, the Texans' offensive tackles from that, they're not playing football anymore. So, that line was so, I can't believe how bad that line was. Ode Ibushi was not there anymore for that.
So like a non-mobile quarterback seems perfect for a Darrell Bevel offense.
Yes. Yeah. So, and he doesn't handle pressure well. He will panic. He is a guy, if his first read is open, he's going to slice you up. No question about it. He has that ability. If his first read isn't open and there's pressure on him, you might be chasing an interception down. That's the kind of guy he is. He is streaky with his accuracy, and as a passer, he's not bad. He is not a bad quarterback.
Sure.
But he is not a starting quarterback.
Right.
You can do worse as a backup quarterback. The Lions have done worse as a backup quarterback. We loved Dan Orlovsky. He was not good. Mm-hmm. We loved Matt. Well, we didn't really love Matt Castle. He wasn't good either.
No.
Jake Rudock, no. Tom Savage is better at this point than all of those guys were at their last Lions tenure.
But the real question
I will say that for him.
The real question is about the heating up. You can already feel the flames coming out of Allen Park in the battle between Connor Cook and Savage. I mean, this is something that's just going to be.
Is it weird that I'm really excited to watch that? Like, seriously? I really am.
This is the kind of epic tales that you can expect from a story like Game of Thrones, right? This is the kind of... There's going to be a red wedding in late July in Allen.
I'm not there yet, man. So I just started watching Game of Thrones yesterday. I've seen the first 4 episodes, and I'm like, why do people get obsessed about this? I don't know. Other than the gratuitous casual nudity, which is awesome.
Yeah, there's not a lot there for. Definitely helps. I'll tell you what it was for me, and just on this digression here. It took me about the first season to get it, to kind of get it right. I was like, it's interesting, it's intriguing. I'm not sitting here loving it like people were. After the first season, though, I was like, oh, this is good. And right now I am chomping at the bit for this finale. I'm really excited to see it. It's very, very good, well done. It's always so epic, though, right? And you have to be ready for epic when you're doing it, and like huge.
It's background fodder for me because I'm working throughout the day. So it's on TV, and it'll hold my attention for a little while.
The nudity scenes.
Yeah, absolutely. And some of I think the acting is very good. I'm a big Sean Bean fan, so I like seeing him. He apparently dies later on. Spoiler alert.
You've just ruined the whole show for millions of people.
Sorry.
Well, I mean, there's a quarter.
I haven't seen it yet. But yeah. So anyway, so that's I am looking forward to that quarterback battle, and I hate to say it, but I do think that signing Tom Savage does sort of eliminate the need for the Lions to draft a developmental quarterback. Yeah. Not that I like Tyree Jackson. He's a local kid here in West Michigan. I've watched him at Buffalo a lot. I got the impression that the Lions were not all that high on him for whatever reason. But he's not accurate. He's not mobile, contrary to popular opinion. Just because he's big and African American and fairly athletic, he's not a mobile quarterback. He can tuck and run if he needs to, but that's not what he wants to do. He's more mobile than Dwayne Haskins, who is Phillip Rivers reincarnated. That's my official comparison, by the way. You heard it here first.
He's going to be more mobile than Savage, though.
Savage.
Always knee deep in the ball, my friend.
Tom Savage, look, he's better than other options that were out there. He's better than Matt Castle.
Yeah.
He's better than Kellen Moore was. He's better than Jake Rudock. Not a lot, not enough that I would ever want to see him play, but
yeah. But if you have to, it comes down to if you need a guy for the last 5 minutes of a game not to lose it for you, who's the best guy not to lose
he can probably do that most weeks. Most weeks.
As the Tom Savage news broke in the subreddit, I got to tell you, Perry87, longtime friend of the show and listener, he says hi, Riz. He wanted us to tell you hi.
Thank you.
And then when we said we would, Gerfick came back and said he wanted to tell you. He said potato.
Potato. It's potato.
I know.
We call it potato.
It's Reddit. What do you expect? I don't know. All right, I'm going to surprise you with one last question here, buddy, and then we'll let you go. Okay. This was one from Twitter, and I think it's a pretty good one from a position of need kind of perspective, right?
Right.
In terms of highest to lowest priority, take wide receiver, tight end, right guard, edge, linebacker, outside cornerback 2, and safety. There's a lot of them there, so just kind of put the top.
All right, I'm sorting.
Order them as best you can. I can see this. I can see the dice rolling in the video.
All right.
Okay, wait, hold on. Got it back here. There's he's thinking. He's doing some calculations on the adding machine. Okay. It looks like he's come to a conclusion.
I will say that the biggest need, and this doesn't mean that it has to be taken with the first pick, but the biggest
positional need.
The biggest positional need is still tight end for me.
Really? Okay.
And I would put edge second, specifically a stand-up pass rusher. Wide receiver is third, and I would entertain that those are like 2 and 2A, 2A and 2B for me.
I think edge is first just because we need it, but I am terrified of our point scoring ability on offense again.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
Our wide receivers, we have a huge gap there. For me, again, not that I take them first round, but that wide receiver position is really, really high in the positions in need for me because there's nothing to differentiate us. Really, I love Galladay, right? But we need somebody that's going to help us differentiate and separate at that position, or it's going to shut down. If you have no wide receivers, right, and you have no tight ends, Your offense is, we're just going to stack the box against the run, and that's what the defense is going to do if there's no threat there. Your tight ends still allow them in a way to stack the box, right? That's why I think wide end is a bigger need, and because it gives you more flexibility in offense. So I'm arguing with you in the nicest way I know how.
Thank you for that. So I would then say, what's next? I think I would put cornerback there just because I think. Mm-hmm. For long-term purposes.
Sure.
Not necessarily for 2019, but for 2020, 21, and beyond, I want another guy who can emerge to be a starting cornerback to come out of this draft. And I think I do think they're going to get one. See, I don't see the big need at linebacker. I know a lot of people are ape nuts about that. Jared Davis is going to play a lot. Yep. You need one other guy. Christian Jones isn't awful. That's your linebacking core.
Yeah.
And Devon Kennard can play there in 3-man sets because he's going to be a pass rusher. They're going to play 2 linebackers and only 2 linebackers at least 70% of the time, if not more. So you don't necessarily, and you have your alpha in Jared Davis.
Right.
So it's just not something that I certainly wouldn't take it before the 4th, 5th, 6th round of the draft.
Sure. And safety, what do you think? I mean, I'm feeling the same way about safety. I feel like we've got guys we've grown into that position. I don't know that they're proven yet, but what we've seen, I feel like
I like Quandre Diggs a lot. I'm bullish on Tracy Walker being able to take a step up. I don't think he's going to be as good as Glover Quinn, but I think he can do different things. Sure. I trust Matt Patricia to use him properly. Yeah. And I also like the fact that Tavon Wilson is back. He's not very good, but as a third safety, he's fine. And he also knows the defense really well. He's going to be a veteran mentor for those guys. He's good at that. Yeah. He can do that. Yeah. So I'm somewhat okay there.
How much are you going to miss Miles Killebrew?
Is he still on the team?
I think he is officially, just because they don't have to cut down numbers yet.
Well, yeah. Yeah, they can be a
great looking guy. He is a great looking guy. He has if he can, and he spoke well actually when I talked to him at training camp last year. He's
a good dude.
He could make a good go in TV as a model and in TV as
he's got that Shamar Moore list to him.
God, he's gorgeous. He's absolutely gorgeous.
He is. Yeah. I wanted Killebrew to work out, but damn it just ain't happening.
Yeah. Exactly the same. He's a guy who's root for hard.
He's got he doesn't even have training camp. He's got mini camp to prove that he still belongs.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Riz. Well, hey, man, thanks a lot for making it out and doing the thing again. We're off next week. Are you going to miss us?
A little bit, yeah.
With every bullet in the gun, right?
I am not a good shot, so
well, I'm a hard target to miss. All right, buddy. We will see you shortly, and be well. And everyone check us out. His great work coming up on the Lions Wire.